Hi everyone. For today's video, I will be answering 4 questions I received from the comment section of my YouTube video. The first question is about the body posture after striking kote. The question is about if I should practice Ato-uchi or practice basic straight strikes.
Ato-uchi. It is when the strike of I-uchi is insufficient you strike immediately. I-uchi. A case in which both strike simultaneously.
The second question is about the feet are too wide apart when in Kamae. Kajitani's feet are wide open when in Kamae, yet can travel fast and farther. Is that because of the muscles Kajitani has in his calf? I will answer those questions. Some viewers, they might think it is irrelevant, since it is not the questions they asked. But remember, there is much to learn from others. The same applies in the dojo. If someone else in the dojo is being warned, instead of thinking, it's not my problem, so it's okay, try to fix the areas that others have been warned about. Learning from others will help you grow more. So please work on this. There are a few things to keep in mind when watching this video. That is, I can only share what I have experienced, and that this is not about which is correct or which is not. I would like you to choose between adopting only the good parts, not the bad parts. Well, there are much informations available outside the dojo, like on YouTube, in books, etc. If you search through blogs, there's a lot of information there. Please take the good parts from a variety of sources, not just one source through me. This goes for things other than Kendo as well. Make sure you make the right choices, and take what works for you, and make it work for you. So now, let's answer the question. Should I loosen my posture to avoid the opponent's Ato-uchi? The upper body posture isn't normally loosened in the basic movements, so I would appreciate it if you could tell me about this. So for this, my conclusion is, I practice both of it. Keep the basics as your foundation, and work them into the application. For example, you do a kiri keshi and practice first, right? You are going to hit a big men then do a kiri keshi. Then you could strike big men, or strike a small men feint men. Then strike to the kote, strike to the kote from above, strike to the kote from below. There are so many techniques. However, at first, I practiced with particular emphasis on the basics. At first, I did not even try to strike fast, but I tried to maintain the body posture and be aware of the shift in the center of gravity, and I tried to strike straight ahead without losing my body posture. I applied the basics most of the time. You could question whether I am actually performing the basics or not. Lol. Once you are able to apply the basics, gradually build in applied techniques that can be used in competitions. This is how I used to practice. Why do we practice with the basics in mind? In a competition, you're supposed to move, strike, and move faster. However, if you suddenly strike fast in practice, it could become Ato-uchi, or only your upper body will move forward, and that will be a problem.
Ato-uchi. Strikes and thrusts accomplished mainly through the use of the upper body, without the proper motion of the lower body.
This is why, when you are practicing, first shift the center of gravity, and put your weight firmly on your left foot. To move with your feet first, you have to practice these things from the basics. Otherwise, even in a competition, you will do it in the same way as you practiced and might step in head first, and your strike won't be fast enough. This is why it is important to practice how to strike faster in your everyday practices. I was practicing this process, gradually weaving in and out of the basics and applications. When you move from the basics to the applications, what parts of the process do we need to be paying attention to? First, when dealing with the opponent's Ato-uchi, I parried the opponent's attacks and moved to the right side. At this point, it's important to note that the kote is right in front of us, but if we handle it with it on the right, the direction of the force changes. Compared to dealing with the Ato-uchi in front of us, if you strike while moving to the right, the striking force becomes weaker, and this is one of the disadvantages. Furthermore, you will be incorrectly judged as striking while avoiding the opponent, which makes it difficult to obtain Ippon. So, be careful of these two. That's exactly why we must first strike straight, strike it powerfully, then deal with Ato-uchi, and go back to the starting posture. It doesn't look so good when you stay as still after dealing with the Ato-uchi. So strike straight powerfully, then deal with Ato-uchi, then return to the starting posture. If you can make it that far, it's perfect. I, too, always tend to strike and deal with the Ato-uchi simultaneously, rather than striking and then dealing. Even when I was in college, when I went to Kyushu Gakuin for the first time in a long time. You're striking while dodging. You are striking while dealing with Ato-uchi. Strike first before you deal with Ato-uchi. I remember being told something like that. I realized the importance of awareness again. When you watch YouTube videos explaining the kote-uchi, you may think that I am striking while dodging. But keep in mind that we should strike first then deal with Ato-uchi. As the techniques become faster and faster, it may appear as if it being done simultaneously. But as much as possible, please try to strike and then deal with Ato-uchi.
Where do you practice Kendo? We want to do Kendo with Kendo friends all over the world. Let us know in the comments section.
Let's go to the next question. I was told by a teacher at school that my feet were open too wide when in Kamae. I think Kajitani has a posture of his legs wide apart compared to the basic posture. Is it because of his calf muscle in the left leg that he can jump so far and fast, even though his feet are wide apart? I will appreciate it if someone tells me. So this was the question. My conclusion is I think it is not just the muscles. I think the most important thing is the form before you strike, and the ability to create a ma'ai from which you can strike.
Ma'ai. Ma'ai is used for spatial distance between two competitors.
I have been warned about this so many times. Not when I was junior high school or high school, but when I was in college, I was warned so many times in the practices. Keep your feet closer together. That was what I was told. I try what I was told once, then put it into practice. And if that doesn't work, I think about it. I wouldn't do what I was told if it was not for me. When I tried it, I thought, sure I could jump farther. I could jump farther, but I was not thinking about jumping far. In the first place, I focused on striking. After entering the ma'ai where I could strike with 80% of my strength. So I didn't worry about how wide apart my feet were. Because I didn't think it suited me. I think there are two sides to this issue. You might think that because I'm young, I can still jump far with my foot wide apart. Or it may get narrower when I get older. But this is not the issue. The idea of striking only after entering a ma'ai, where you only need 80% of your strength to jump, is also the way active players in the All Japan Championships think. It would be interesting to study it. I learned this in high school, and it made a lot of sense to me. Suppose, when you do men uchi, if you were to strike with 100% of your strength, and the opponent tries to use an oji vaza, you will not be able to respond to it.
Oji vaza. Techniques for counterattack, i.e. surya gewaza, uchiotoshi vaza, keshi vaza and nuki vaza.
This is why striking after entering a ma'ai, where you can strike with 80% of your strength, is important. Even if your opponent tried to do a nuki do, you can respond with your remaining 20% of your strength.
Nuki do. A counter do vaza after dodging an opponent's men vaza with tai sabaki.
I was taught that way. It makes excellent sense in theory, but isn't easy to do in practice. If you keep on reminding yourself about striking with only 80% of your strength, you will become afraid of the opponent's dabana kote or nuki do, which will make you hesitate to strike. That's why it's very important to set up a game and read the opponent's pattern. The setting up a game I am talking about is something I often say during technique practice. For example, even if you aim for a player who is good at kote, the moment you aim for the men, you have to worry about the kote, which makes you hesitant about striking. So aim for I kote men, kote keshi men, and oji vaza.
I kote men. Striking a men immediately after simultaneous kote-uchi from both players.
And block the opponent's kote vaza, and then connect it to the men vaza that you are good at. Just like this, the idea and mindset of striking with 80% of your strength, combined with what I talked about in second part of the men vaza video, is a way to steal the distance and strike. This is what makes me able to strike without relying on the left calf muscle, or be able to shift the center of gravity and strike powerfully, even if I am short. You need to make sure you practice hard, or else it will become a men uchi. After showing okuri.
Okuri. The moment that one's intention to attack an opponent takes shape. It's a striking opportunity in the beginning of a movement.
As I mentioned in the beginning, muscle is not the only important thing. I have also strengthened my lower body. But even if you have a lot of muscle, and are fast enough, it will be meaningless if your posture before striking is not built correctly. So I think it is a good idea to study the form and increase the muscle strength and practice.